Anna worked long hours in the kitchen. It was always noisy, pots banging. Chef shouted, steam hissed, even after the last guest had left. The work wasn't over. Dishes were piled high, smeared with the remains of expensive meals. Tonight she was so tired she could barely stand on her feet, and her back screamed, and all she wanted to do was sleep. She wasn't a cook, not anymore. She was a dishwasher, the lowest of the low. But sometimes, as she worked, flashes of another life came to her, a small sunny kitchen, the smell of spices, the joy of creating a delicious meal that Anna, the cook, seemed far away now, lost in a blur of bad luck. The dishwashing area was its own dirty world, cracked tiles, greasy air, a sink always full here, surrounded by scraps and broken plates. Something sparked inside Anna, a tiny flicker of rebellion. The shine of the spotless front kitchen, the fancy food. That wasn't her world. But even here tonight, scraps were scraps. A small, cracked plate lay amidst the wreckage. Most days, it would have gone straight into the trash, but exhaustion had seeped into her bones, and a flicker of something rebellious sparked. Anna reached for it and began to create something, making it up as she went. A smear of leftover sauce, a forgotten slice of fish, a handful of wilted herbs destined for the compost. It wasn't a recipe, not a dish she'd ever cooked. In her better days. It was survival instinct mixed with a desperate kind of joy. Anna worked quickly, her movements guided by years of ingrained skill. The fish, pale and flaky, took center stage. The sauce became a swirl of richness against the white porcelain. The herbs added splashes of vivid color. It wasn't pretty, but it was hers. The first plate was finished. But something urged her to another cracked plate. This one was stained a faint pink, a few overlooked shrimp, a spoonful of a sauce with a hint of spice. She couldn't quite place it. Each creation was different, born of necessity. A quiet rebellion against the pile of discarded scraps. 3 plates, now tiny masterpieces amidst the garbage. The kitchen was a whirlwind. Pans screamed around her orders. She was a shadow in the midst of it all. But with her creations complete, there was a lightness in her heart. She hadn't felt it in a long time. Then that damn bell, the signal for another dish, the line cooks surging forward like hungry predators, rough hands snatching plates, any plates, all 3 of hers vanished in the chaos. A jolt of surprise, a pang of worry about being caught, then a flicker of a new possibility. What if, in the absurdity of it all, one of her creations found its way to a table? What if, just for a moment, someone tasted her food and enjoyed it? The plates would never be traced back to her, never lead to a better position. At El Magnifique, the idea faded as quickly as it was born. Even if those plates brought a spark of pleasure, her job, her life wouldn't change, and if she was good, there were always other dishwashing jobs. The worry faded, replaced by a quiet determination in that dirty corner. Amid the endless plates, she had found a way to steal back a piece of her old life, her true passion. It might only be scraps, moments snatched from the drudgery, but those moments were hers. The evening rush was in full swing, a symphony of shouts and sizzling pans. Then a hush fell over El Magnifique. It began at the prime table near the window, diners pausing in conversation, waiters hovering in surprise. All eyes were drawn to a single figure, a man with silver hair and a presence that commanded the room without a single word being uttered. Monsieur Dubois, the city's most influential food critic, was known for his scathing reviews and rare moments of praise. This seemed to be one of those rare moments. With a flourish worthy of the theater stage, Dubois summoned the maitre d'. His voice, when he spoke, was surprisingly soft, yet it cut through the remaining whispers. My compliments to the chef responsible for this extraordinary creation. Such a daring use of flavors, a testament to true culinary instinct. The words hung in the air, a bomb exploding in the heart of the restaurant. Chef Jack, the undisputed king of El Magnifique, hurried out of the kitchen. His usual mask of composure cracked with smug satisfaction and a flicker of genuine confusion. Jack did not create extraordinarily daring dishes. His cuisine was about perfection, predictability, opulence. The silence stretched, broken by the nervous laughter of a diner unsure how to react. Dubois, seemingly oblivious to the chaos he created, continued to lavish praise on this phantom dish, his words vivid, describing flavors and textures with the precision of a poet and the passion of a true gourmand. Anna, from her shadowed corner, felt a jolt of shock. Dubois was describing her plates, made in a desperate act of rebellion. A flicker of temptation flickered. Should she speak up, claim this triumph as her own? But reality hit hard. Jack would never believe her. A mere dishwasher claiming culinary genius. Accusations of theft and lying would follow deportation. The ever-present threat loomed large. This wasn't a chance for ambition. It was a matter of survival. Chaos broke out. Jacku drove the line cooks through suspicion and thinly veiled panic. Innocent but terrified, they were interrogated. The waitstaff blamed each other for a mistake. They didn't understand. Anna watched the cruelty unfold, the praise of the inspector twisted into an instrument of fear. In the midst of the frenzy, Dubois calmly finished his meal, seemingly oblivious to the storm he had unleashed. Jacku seized the opportunity and turned his panic into a theatrical display of indignation. He would find the culprit, this hidden genius, in his kitchen and elevate her to her rightful place. There were vague promises of promotions and transformed careers. Anna knew it was a lie. Even if the creator was found, Jax would claim the credit. She had seen it before, when a chef-inspired source rebranded a pastry chef's delicate dessert and passed it off as Jack's own. The temptation to take credit for the dish remained. It was dangerous, but it also whispered of the possibilities of another life. Dub, the critic with the palate of a king, had been fooled. He had seen a talent in her that she had barely recognized, but perhaps she hadn't taken the risk seriously enough. The ever-present threat of deportation seemed less theoretical. Now it was a small risk, almost certainly exaggerated, but at that moment it carried enough weight to stop her in her tracks. She had played a dangerous game, with consequences far beyond a lost job. As the cooks grew more desperate, Anna slipped away. Her creation had wreaked havoc. Yes, it had also revealed, however inadvertently, a crack in the perfect image El Magnifique presented to the world. For now, that tiny bit of truth would have to suffice. Dubois didn't just return to El Magnifique, he became a fixture, a constant reminder of the court he couldn't forget. Every night he arrived with the air of a man on a quest, not just for food, but for something special. A spark of culinary magic that he believed existed within the gleaming walls of the restaurant. Jacku, under the relentless scrutiny of the critic, seemed to unravel with each passing day. His tantrums were legendary, a whirlwind of accusations that rained down on the staff like a hailstorm. The kitchen became a war zone where fear mixed with the smell of burnt powers and broken dreams. Anna watched from the shadows. A strange mixture of guilt and defiant satisfaction twisted in her stomach. Jacku in his desperation was a danger to them all. Yet his failures were also a testament to the lie at the heart of El Magnifique. Each disastrous dish and the attempt to replicate Dubois' elusive masterpiece was a vindication of sorts. Still, she couldn't remain untouched by the chaos. The cooks were at breaking point, their eyes filled with a terror that mirrored her own deep-seated fear. One question remained. Could she somehow help without revealing her secret and risking everything? Then an opportunity arose. Amidst the usual bulk order of predictable ingredients arrived a box of fragrant herbs, delicate varieties, far too unusual for Jax's rigidly traditional palate. Anna's fingers traced the velvety leaves. It was a risk, a reckless gamble. With a feigned stumble, a calculated act of clumsiness, she accidentally knocked the box open. The herbs spilled onto the floor, their vibrant green and intoxicating scent impossible to ignore. Jackie was bound to notice it was a small act of rebellion, a subtle form of sabotage that might just lead to the spark Du Bois craved, or to Jacques' further downfall. Either way, it felt too good to remain a silent observer in his cruel game. The second tasting was filled with suspense. Du Bois waited, his usual calm replaced by a focused intensity. The waiters moved like frightened mice. Jack personally delivered the dish, sweat beading on his brow despite the air conditioning. It looked close to the original, thanks to the herb Anna had accidentally left out, but something was wrong. Anna, hidden in her corner, saw it in the subtle frown on Du Bois's face. The dish wasn't bad, but it lacked the spark that had captivated him. It was a copy, not the real thing, and she faced a choice: remain silent or reveal herself. Before she could think too hard, Anna stepped out of the shadows. The kitchen froze. Every eye turned to her, filled with confusion and a glimmer of desperate hope. "I made this dish," she said, her voice surprisingly strong, "and I can make it again now." The silence was thick enough to cut through. Then Jacques scoffed. "Ridiculous," he shouted, his face flushed. A dishwasher claiming such a creation, but a gleam sparked in Du Bois's eyes, the same curiosity that had driven him back night after night. "Fascinating," he said. Looking at Jack, "Perhaps we should see a demonstration. It seems a shame to waste potential." Jack choked out a protest, but Du Bois held his gaze defeated. Jackie gestured harshly in the direction of the kitchen. "Fine, prove yourself, dishwasher." When Anna took center stage, it wasn't about dreams of fame. It was about no longer being invisible. It was about proving to herself and to them that she was more than just a cog in the machine. It was about finally doing what she loved, consequences be damned. It wasn't just about the ingredients anymore. It was about the years of forgotten skills and suppressed passion that went into this second chance. As he tasted, Du Bois understood that this was not the product of a meticulously trained chef, but of raw talent ignited by circumstance. His praise was genuine. He had found his culinary magic, but its true source was born in a place of hardship, not privilege. Jacques, witnessing the critics' reaction, felt a different kind of heat than the stoves provided. His initial shock turned to cold calculation. This dishwasher was a threat, proof of his own shortcomings. He stepped forward, claiming Anna's work as a product of his own genius, a stroke of inspiration born of his masterful leadership. Du Bois saw through the lie. There was no mistaking the flicker of fear in Anna's eyes, as Jacques spun his web of deceit. But the critics said nothing. This was not a battle. He could fight for her. Instead, after the spectacle had faded, he approached Anna. His offer wasn't one of fame or fortune, but of a smaller stage, a restaurant where real food mattered more than reputation. It was a lifeline, a fragile thread of hope in a place that offered none. When Anna left El Magnifique that night, it wasn't the triumph she might have imagined, but neither was it a simple defeat in the battle between talent and ego. She had lost a battle, not the war. The ending wasn't a fairy tale, But it wasn't the last page of her story, either. It was perhaps only the beginning of a different kind of journey, a harder one, but one paved with stubborn hope. Only those who have tasted true despair and a spark of defiance can truly know.